For more on Pride Month, LGBTQ rights, and COVID-19, I'm joined live from DC by Ashley Smith. He's the president of the board of directors of the Capital Pride Alliance. Ashley, thanks so much for joining us. First, I want to ask you about the pandemic and social distancing. How has it been shifting the conversation around Pride?
Well, thank you so very much for having me. I think that the shift has really taken place because we have to focus on how do we make sure that everyone is safe. So instead of trying to do events that would bring people together, we do events that are virtually. And it's allowing us to actually touch and be able to interact with a lot more people than we maybe sometimes do with the traditional events that we have that are in person.
This, of course, has been a significant month for the LGBT community, the month of June, but there's also been this crossover following the death of George Floyd, his killing, and the protests that we've seen with Black Lives Matter. How has that shifted the conversation?
The one thing that we have to know is that when we think of the LGBT movement, we started off as a riot, as it was discussed in the former presentation. And one of the pieces is that we were there because of the fight that we had to have. And we asked so many other people to join in that fight. As a black male, it's very important for us to be able to join in this fight as well, and to have the LGBTQ plus community join with us. So at this point in time, all of the prides, or many of the prides, are really focusing on how do we embrace all of this, and also are being a part and being engaged with the Black Lives Matter movement, as well as so many other movements that really deal with racial justice that we need to deal with, that has been going on for, let's say, for the last 400 plus years that we have not been able to get it, and now we're starting to fight to make it happen. So it's very interesting that it happened in the month of June, but I'm very happy that it has, and I'm very happy to see that we are able to start to work together in many more ways than we've ever had before.
So then how significant is it for you that Global Pride will incorporate or put Black Lives Matter at the center of this first ever worldwide gathering of the LGBTQ community?
It's important for us to understand that the Global Pride team is really putting together a force to look at the racial injustices that are taking place across this world. And it just so happens that the Black Lives Matter movement is the leading element in America. But if you go across this world, there may be a lot of other things that are taking place, racial justice issues that are taking place in other countries that we have to also be cognizant of. So yes, the Global Pride team is very focused on the Black Lives Matter movement. Obviously, that is something that is really huge and impacting our country and the fight that we have in America. But it's not just about America when it comes to Global Pride. Pride is a celebration that has to take place around this world. And we're very excited to be a part of that here locally in DC, but also that all the prides throughout the world are excited to be a part of this and to celebrate and put forth the emphasis on making sure that we have justice, not just only in the LGBTQ plus community, but across the world in all of our racial communities as well.
Pride parades in places, including here in DC, have faced criticism in the past for having corporate sponsorship from some corporations that perhaps might not embrace the full values of Pride. How do you keep these corporations honest?
Well, there are several different ways that you do to really keep the groups and corporations honest. Number one, you actually do some research on the organizations. Of course, we do have to have funding in order to do the events, but we also need to be very cognizant of those organizations that are there that are going to harm members of our community, both Black and brown, as well as LGBTQ plus members. We have to make a stop in having those individuals or corporations to be a part of our festivals, our parades, and those types of things. So all of those things are really going to be reviewed and looked at as we go forth and move forward, because there's going to have to be a change. We have to hold our corporations accountable for the actions that they take. And if it's hurting members of our community, then we have to put a stop to that. And the way that we do that is through them maybe sometimes not being engaged with our Pride festivals or parades. And that's what we are going to have to take the risk to do, because the most important thing is to take care of the people that are a part of our community.
And given that some corporations have had financial problems as a result of COVID-19, have you seen any trickle-down effect on fundraising for the Pride events?
Absolutely. We've obviously, many of the organizations who we've worked with in the past have unfortunately had to say, we cannot do it this year. We are still engaged. We still want to be a part of it, but maybe next year or the year after. And we understand that. I mean, the pandemic hit us all. and it hit us all in a very tough manner, and we're all trying to recover from it, and we need to be careful and cautious of how we recover from it in order for us to be safe, because the most important thing is for us to all be alive when this is over with, and we can continue to move on, and we can celebrate Pride, and we can celebrate the Black Lives Matter movement. We can celebrate the fact that today is the 5th year anniversary for marriage equality here in America. These are the things that we can celebrate, provided that we're alive. We can't do it if we're dead.
All right, Ashley Smith, thank you so much for joining us, and happy Pride to you.
Thank you, and happy Pride to you as well.